The creative leadership, it combines multiple qualities like exploration, curiosity, your purpose, simplicity also, focusing in what are your priorities and the energy, and a bit of innovation, having a curious mind, being a learner, an avid learner. I focus on the creative leadership in a way that make us more independent to overcome uncertainty that nowadays we need more than ever to tackle. Being proactive of your own life, have a critical mind, critical thinking, and apply your focus, your energy, what you'd like to achieve in your life. It comes from stillness, it comes from awareness, it comes from pause, being adaptable.
Welcome to the Mindform Podcast, where we delve into the minds of some of the most interesting people on the planet, discuss psychology, philosophy, and personal growth, and share the wisdom we uncover with you. Join us as we explore the art of forming our minds. Here's your host, Frank Lawton.
Kia ora from New Zealand. This is the Mindform Podcast. Here we share real conversations with earnest seekers of the good life, uncovering gems of wisdom every time. Each guest is a unique expert in philosophy, psychology, and personal growth, and all are members of the Psychotecture collective and training platform Mindform. This week, I'm privileged to be speaking with Alexandra Mateus. Alexandra is an integral health coach and writer whose work supports purpose-driven leaders to thrive with creativity, adaptability, and awareness while keeping optimal health so they feel grounded and resilient. She discusses themes of authenticity, balance, and curiosity as key in sustainable and meaningful growth and leadership. Welcome to the podcast, Alexandra.
Thanks, Frank. Hi, and thanks so much for having me here.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'll just start with how you are. What's alive in you, Alexandra, right now?
Well, right now it's creativity that it's alive in me since I'm experienced winter, and right now it's dark outside, so I always keep the creativity in mind in a natural way, of course.
Awesome. Sweet as. Well, I want to start with a bit about you and your journey. Just getting our bearings on how you sort of came to do what you do and talk about the things you talk about. What are some key learnings and experiences that have informed what you do today in terms of your work and leadership and authenticity?
Yeah, sure. Shall I start from where I've come from until now?
Go for
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Love the whole story. Yeah.
I was born and raised in Lisbon in Portugal, and I began there exploring design, a bit of textile materials, at the same time, a bit of visual culture, and immersed in travels. My parents sparked that curiosity in me, which gave me the interest to move abroad. While at the same time in Lisbon, I felt also always that keen drive in exploring, tackle ways between health, emotional well-being, and at the same time, there was an interesting wave, which was around 15 years ago, on technology, human interactions, interaction design. But I got the impression in that time that Scandinavia had the combination between design, interaction, and technology, while Lisbon was focusing more in engineering-based interaction. So I took the chance in 2010, to move first in Denmark and then Sweden. And I'm here since then, while I continue love to travel, and in a way that it's slow, like immersing in the cultures and trying to pick up things here and there that feels according to my lifestyle, timeless to me, and how I can apply in my lifestyle. I took a sabbatical last year while I studied integrative nutrition, and 3 months ago I opened my business, and it's where I'm now.
Only that recently. Right.
Yes. So now I combining creative leadership coach and still the design. It's present in me as a consultant.
Awesome. Well, I'm curious. I mean, this is not the theme of our convo just yet, but I am curious about a bit about the stuff with travel and textile design. What do you mean textile design? Do you mean, is it fashion design or is it different to that?
In Lisbon, I started as studying fashion design, how to combine the materials and also to make clothes. And that to me was the bridge in combining technology to experience the sensors embedded in the fabrics,
Right.
and also emotional well-being in Scandinavia, in Lund, when I got in a project with children with cognitive disabilities and how to evoke positive emotions. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah, I love that's something I've discovered, which I think people who aren't sort of familiar with the design and art worlds is that so much of it, or well, often people actually do that work with an intention for creating well-being, and how can, for example, fashion and design or architecture, even like how can these things evoke a sense of meaning or wellness or community or all sorts of things or pride.
Totally.
Yeah, and it's nice when you learn about that, because then you walk around the world and you see, oh, actually these spaces that I'm in or these things that I'm seeing is somebody trying to facilitate that for me and everybody else who's here. So cool that you got to be a part of that that important piece of the human project, I reckon. Okay, my other question is, so going from Portugal to Sweden, and you say you like to explore the culture and see what fits within your lifestyle, and well, what aspects of Swedish culture are different or new compared to where you grew up that you have seen value in and adopted for yourself?
Yeah, sure. To me, it was the weather. Absolutely, the first impression, the darkest periods of the winter, the long winters, and how to tackle that. Since I came from a country with the sun most of the time, so to me, that was how to tackle that, and how to get like that combination between body, mind, resilience, creativity, innovation, to a new pace of life, a new life. And also I got interested in the Friluftsliv term, the Scandinavian term, which is being immersed in nature and have experiences in nature. And at least, well, ideally it would be once a week, but or more, but be connected with nature, and I felt that could um, optimize my life. And nowadays, I still continue to do that. I have a forest nearby, and it's interesting how to apply that in your lifestyle. You can bring so much inspiration to your work and to your life, and how you feel connected. You have your own seasons, and you start to understand the players, instead of being totally full in a block of a building that you don't have connection at all in a urban environment every day. So that balance I understood in the culture, not only in Sweden but also in Denmark, and how to forward and have resilient skills while you are in the nature. When you don't have net connection, internet connection, Wi-Fi, and you are there, and you can't, you need to use your skills and your creativity and your health. Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that sort of because of the perhaps more challenging for things like mood seasons, right? The seasons are more challenging in that way in Switzerland. Do you think because of that there is more of a intentional cultural conversation about how can we look after our mental health? How can we take actions that facilitate that wellness?
What I see here is that people, they take a lot of there is a huge contrast between summer and winter. It's totally the opposite. So summer, it's bright days, almost no dark, comparing the certain points of Sweden. And yeah, in a winter, it's totally the other way around. So people, they take that as a privilege to experience every season with respect, with care. That's how I see here, and the approach it's focusing on the sustainability, not only in nature itself, but on systems, and integrating how those systems intertwine with human interactions and how things flow. That was, to me, the most immediate points. And since I've been working with an international environment, I found meaningful, like, different perspectives and how different perspectives combine, intertwine into a more, like, a rich overview of the world, or of the same element, let's say. But also on the travels. Mm-hmm.
It's that's definitely my favorite kind of intellectual endeavor, is bringing together a few different ideas and then realizing, oh, well, they're sort of talking about the same thing. What's that common thread that's through these ideas, or how can I adjust them to bring them together? That sort of integrating type of thinking is so valuable, especially now when there's just so many ideas out there, and maybe what's missing is finding that the point of value in there rather than just picking the best one or something. So yeah, that's valuable work. Good on you. So I like to kind of paint this metaphor for my guests sometimes. So sort of the landscape and the map metaphor, maybe you're familiar with that. But the idea is that, the world you're in,
Love
the
that.
journey you've been on, that's your landscape, and you carry this adjusting map with you over time, right? Where it tells you what's meaningful, where to go, and there's a difference between the map and the landscape. The map is your worldview, it's your beliefs, it's your values, and the landscape is reality. My question is, sort of over the last 5 years, as you've been on this journey of exploration and now come to doing this work around leadership and coaching that you do, what has been some really major shifts in your maps? A couple of big changes in your worldview that have felt significant to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, what I can see currently, it's I have a learning process until now, and the design process, it's also that part of creative loops, which got me inspired also into my coaching sessions, creative leadership, the focus. And it's how do you work between small experiments that generate insight to you, and how do you receive that, reflect, and then adapt, adjust, depending the methods that you use, and depending the bio-individuality of the person that I'm talking with. There are a lot of factors involved, but until now, I got a sense that it's a combination between movement and pause, movement and reflection, and at the same time, that helps for the growth loops, instead of a few years back considering the linear. But since I moved abroad, experiencing that part of the world, readjusting the map, and to contact with other ways of interacting with the world, I also spent time in certain areas in Eastern Europe, the Arctic, in Japan, at least, an island like in Sardinia. So these combinations made me readjust my way of thinking, and also taking care of my body in different kinds of resilience and in different kinds of creativity. And while I'm taking that knowledge and integrate into experiments, and according to my lifestyle, and readjusting, like reflecting, readjusting, and then again the growth loop. And while I was applying this method in me, I realized that could be important to create later on a booklet where I could share the philosophy behind the Modern Day Explorer and explain in more detail the methods that I used in me. And that being said, I developed based on the like the evidence method, my exploration, that method, and the context of us. But that I would need to explain in more detail. But anyway, that it was the bridge for the coaching on creative leadership. Yes, I can explain later about the creative leadership.
Yeah. Well, I would love to get into that now. Maybe let's just start with what the term leadership means to you. I think that's a term that people put a lot of different meanings behind. Sometimes it just means being the person who's in charge or makes the decisions. Others have a more complicated and nuanced definition of the term. So what is leadership to you? Or to phrase it another way, as you work on developing leadership in yourself and in others, what are you really trying to achieve? What's the hope? What's the ideal outcome?
Well, the leadership to me, it's having the freedom or the way for yourself to take the responsibility and the decisions in a way that it's not another person or an organization telling you to do something. So it's not waiting for a leader like the strict, linear, classical, conventional leadership. It's the
Yeah. It's and that flexibility, of course, is part of what makes it less likely to break. Well, I think that's a very valuable perspective to bring into the world of conversations about leadership, because so often it sounds really external focused, right? When people are talking about leadership, they're talking about communication styles or the actions you sort of take. So I want to understand, and I think I have a sense for the answer to this already. We talked about the world being chaotic and unpredictable, and there's other unique challenges like that in the world today. What in the world gets in the way of people facilitating this kind of leadership in themselves? What are the barriers for people that mean not everyone has this currently?
Yeah. Well, usually people tend to not have the time, energy. There are a lot of actions to be taken in each day. Right now we are connected everywhere, as we know, and we need to be mindful in how to tackle, how to simplify, how to manage our energy, which is challenging these days. In the past, we used to have, of course, our own responsibilities, but the technology, it's something, the tech, like devices in that sense-wise, it's something that the human mind, human brain, it's not used to so much information. And at the same time, for us, we need focus. We need a sharp mind to make decisions. So the challenge, it's really the overload of information, the complexity, and the noise. Yes, that we need also to distinguish which is the right or most accurate information, evidence-based.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think, recognize that this is a challenge and a barrier and has harms, but I think people they don't know maybe what the best thing to do is, the best way they can shift their use of time or whatever to get away from the negative impacts of that, or like you say, filter it. Like, what are the there's value as well to be found, isn't there, in knowing what's going on in the world or being connected in different ways. And so I think people have the sense that it's harming them, and especially that capacity to reflect and be still and step back. But in your work, maybe, the journey you've been on with yourself or the work you do with your clients, how do you support people to find a way to craft that space and to protect themselves from that information overload?
What I used to do, and I'm starting the awareness. I already started the awareness campaign. It's a free consultation. Get to know each other and which are the challenges, the vision of each person, and then we start exploring together what's the alignment that people drive for. The goals, the values, the energy, and then we focus on personalized practices. In a personalized practice with everyone, it's different. It's bio-individual, and the focus is always to enhance the emotional well-being and focus on increasing the energy. It's based on the lifestyle, on the routine of the person, age, biomarkers if possible, personal preferences, and detoxifying the focus that people, each one wants. If it's more the body, the mind, and to achieve clarity and energy. But I would say the connection between mind and body, it's important. Having that alignment and sense the body. How does the body feel? How does the mind feel? Is it too dull or is it too overwhelmed? And how to make that balance. I found that in general sense, moments of stillness and in nature, it's important. Even it's not in a day, regularly, because people would have more a sense of connection of body and mind, and a bit of a pause to help them, like a medicine, a natural medicine, in a way to tackle better that overload of information and the hustle that people are immersed.
So you find that across personality differences or what's or lifestyle or what's maybe the different things that are getting in the way for people, nature is really across the board, is like time and nature across the board is helpful in bringing people to a place of wellness.
In general, I would say yes, but I would need to check with each one which kind of activity in nature would be. But stillness, movement, moments of stillness, it's important for people.
Yeah. No, I love that you speak to the importance of accommodating to each individual. I think that is so. It's really the unique value that coaching does or should at least have for people, in this world where, people are trying to kind of help themselves or whatever. And then you go on the internet and everyone's saying, oh, this is the thing to do. This is the way to get better. But of course, everybody does have a unique thing that's the obstacle. They have the unique thing that speaks to them. They have the unique life situations, etc. So yeah, I think it's brilliant that you do that, and it that is the opportunity that you have when there's a real conversation with a real human being going on, is that someone can understand what the unique barriers, what the unique challenges are. I wonder what patterns you've noticed and bringing that approach to different sorts of people. What patterns have you seen in, I suppose, like what are some specific solutions or lifestyle shifts or new habits or whatever that help specific problems? Like, what are some of the links between solution and challenge that you've noticed? I hope that question makes sense.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I would say if people feel scattered, overwhelmed, it's important to focus on how to subtract, how to take away patterns that keep them into the loops of old bad routines. So the focus, it's what's the achievement, what's the transformation, because information we have all around. The focus, it's in the transformation. what each one is willing to achieve. And then if they feel scattered, for example, overwhelmed, it's to take away tasks, activities, habits per week, per day, at least trying to take one and then another and so on. It's a constructive way of doing things, and the subtraction with a connection, like a communication, a regular communication, checking out also ways of eating habits. Of course, that it's not going to forbid this and that, but connecting that part of feeling also overwhelmed from being clear, more energized. The same goes with feeling dull. If the person feels dull, that person needs a creative spark, inspiration, alive. So what do we need to do that? I mean, of course, again, I will do one by one, but in general would be to see what brings that person to life, and how to, in little pieces, like, for example, think about half a year. Okay, now let's see how to deconstruct, distill that into 3 months and into 1 month and into a week, in order for the person achieve in 6 months, again, the creative spark. So it's these are two examples that I see mostly common, and usually people tend to feel too scattered, or feeling less inspired or dull, or it's a balance. Yeah.
Right. So you're kind of trying to pull people into that middle place where they have time to connect with themselves and reflect, but also the motivation and the enthusiasm to, when they're outside of that time, be actively experimenting and giving themselves something to reflect on, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm curious about I imagine, and you sort of have hinted at it before, and of course it's the title of your Substack, the Modern Explorer, right? That's it,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yes.
sort of active explorer, but so the Modern Explorer, this process of exploration, or this approach of exploration, it sounds like when you're working with somebody who's feeling dull, say, and you're trying to support them to find a creative spark, that it's a process of, oh, let's try this for a week and see what moves on you, and then maybe let's try this. And so could you speak a little bit to your philosophy about this explorative approach to growth and self-leadership?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. The Modern Day Explorer, it's a concept, it's a growth, personal growth. It's me, of course, yes, as you understood. It's a journey throughout culture, habits, culture, perspectives, health, wellness, and I focused in a Modern Day Explorer. Initially, I focused in 3 points, 3 aspects. One, it was the experimentation, like build your own, create your own lab metaphor, which is through the travels and through the perspectives, different points of view, you feel inspired through that. It's a novelty, but in a way that it's a slow travel, slow living that you can bring once you are back at home. Then evidence methods that I learned, not only from the design thinking process, but also from integrative nutrition. And I can apply that. And also in the context of each situation. So the Modern Day Explorer started the newsletter more into travel, but then it was I found interesting the way how you approach a few minutes back on a question like the map and the route. I've been leaning towards the map and the route, but towards more how do you find your sense of creative leadership to tackle uncertainty and the challenges that we face right now.
Have you found some strong parallels or translations between, I suppose, a philosophy of how to approach travel and exploration in the world, in the material world, exploring a new place, a new culture, finding things about yourself through that process? Have you found similarities between a valuable philosophy for how to approach travel in the world and then also how to approach exploring your interests or exploring yourself and your work? Do you see that there's some wisdoms that apply to both of those?
Oh yeah, it's a combination between, I would say, minimalism, neuroscience, and I would say I see Buddhism as a philosophy, Japanese Buddhism, for example, and the way how I experience, for example, a community called the Zaporizhian Cossacks in the western of Europe, how they lead with resilience and tackle uncertainty, which was quite challenging into their culture. So it's a combination of experiences that I absorb since I was early age until nowadays.
What do you mean by minimalism? Minimalism.
Yeah, so it's in subtracting, taking away things that feels in a way that feels your life is sustainable. Life meaning mental health and the body. I try to experiment, for example. I guess we all experience that. We have a lot of subscriptions. When we ended up having a lot of subscriptions, and we think to ourselves, maybe we can get rid of a lot of them. Same with the work that we get involved. Drains me energy. Of course, the energy, it's a balance between your health. It's a combination of factors, but what are the ones that tackle, that converge? And which are the other work or jobs that I can get rid of and focus on the ones that are more meaningful and brings me energy. And energy reflects also on wealth. So there are many examples in our lives, and the way how our habits, how we can delete certain habits and keep others, or revise, improve, work, subscriptions, or things that we paid every month. Basically, it's to live a more meaningful life through subtraction. Yeah.
Keep what moves you. Keep what matters to you. I'm gonna rephrase my previous question. Your answer about sharing the philosophies you'd found in your travels was interesting. So I wanted to go into that a little bit, but it wasn't actually exactly what I meant by my question. So I'll rephrase it and see if I can get that across. No. So you've done travel, right? And I heard you mention in passing a couple of ideas like sort of slowness, for example, like taking it slow. And I had this thought that perhaps what applies as a valuable approach to traveling, like for example, just showing up without too much of a plan and slowly exploring the city, etc., may apply similarly to your philosophy and your approach as a coach, which is a slow, reflective, and explorative. Do you think you could speak to the similarities as how you like to approach traveling and how you like to approach growth?
For sure. Oh yes, you touched the point that that's super interesting. I started with slow traveling, and I ended up right now at this stage with experimentation in growth. And definitely, yes, that applies. That slow travel, applies in a way how I grow in life and how I experiment in life. It's some kind of reflection and movement, but not a linear growth. As I understood, came up in life, if I make too much plans in advance, things could be totally different. And so my approach to life, especially now these days, it's I have something that I want to pursue. However, I'm keeping not rigid, but open to interesting events that could happen, and having that focusing mind and applying my experimentation with the things, the events that happen that I haven't counted for to achieve my destination. It's a growth loops that we were speaking before. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So could you, help describe a little bit the difference between growth loops and linear growth? What makes growth loops different to linear growth?
Linear growth, it's you have, let's say, a plan, and you have the starting that you are gathering information, and then after gathering information, you analyze, you reflect, and you map out information, then you continue, make it intangible into whatever the outcome could be, then you test it, and then you launch it. Let's say focusing in something that you are building. In growth loops, it's different. While the linear, as we saw, we plan in that sense from A to Z. We are sticked rigid to that line. On a growth loop, it's we have circles, and we could have the exploration, like exploring references, taking them, but experimenting according to what we want to test. We could have a Z, and we will have a Z, an ending point, but it's not rigid. It's more open to changing circumstances. So it's nothing already structured in our mind. It's something like, let's say, 50% that we define it. Because we know that uncertainty may come. So we test small chunks, small things, and readjust according to what will happen. However, we have an idea of what it could come. But it's not like 100% rigid form. It's something that you will uncover between you and life uncertainty.
Right, but I see the value that choosing these micro projects ensures that even if your goal is adjusting or it's not set in stone, you're still moving towards something. You know you're learning something. You know you're creating progress. It's just where that's taking you is undecided. I see the parallel with travel. You sort of said this already, but like the difference between, okay, I've planned out my whole trip versus I'm going to plan out my first 2 days to see what I love about this city or this country that I found myself in. And then from there, you go, okay, great, I'm going to plan the next week because I've figured out that these things really spoke to me, but these didn't. And then what happens is your trip, when you come back home or whatever, when you're finished with that period of exploration, you've still filled your time and you've still achieved a lot or discovered a lot, but it's stuff that's spoken to you. It's adjusted based on the actual experience.
Yes, totally. Same with life. Let's say, for example, in a work, a job, or let's say a project that someone who loves to create and perhaps loves to create buildings, architecture, but something caught in the middle in his country, for example, and he couldn't proceed with that. But if he loves, for example, another type of outcome creation, gardening with food, can combine if that circumstance gives him that. Why not to try and not sticking only to the architecture domain? So it's some openness, sense of awareness, flexibility. Same with our bodies, with our health. Yeah, there are many
I see that.
examples that we could.
I see that the value is not just in that you might find something that's maybe more authentic to you, or you might refine your goal to be more personally valuable. But of course, changeability, right? If you have one plan across time, only one definition of what success or achievement looks like, then when stuff happens that you can't control, that ruins that, suddenly you feel you've failed or something. But if you're just doing time limited things and the world makes your initial goal impossible, well, you've learned all this, you've developed these skills, you can let that change in the world inform your next goal, and you're still moving, you're still getting somewhere.
Oh, for sure. And you feel that you have rich experiences and you can discover even more about yourself.
Yeah. So you've spoken about, the value of flexibility and adjustment. So myself, I'm someone who, when I was younger, I was diagnosed ADHD, and something I had struggled with a lot in my life is like kind of going from this thing to the other thing and not finishing what I start, or having trouble maintaining consistency over a long period of time. So, from my perspective, sometimes, I've certainly found the value for myself of trying to, have more that stays the same over a long period of time, and trying to, I aspire always to, okay, what's something that I can, stick at for a while, because there's a lot of value in developing skills and exploring, and I've gotten a lot of value out of that. But the piece that's missing for me is, how can I ensure that I'm really building something out of all of these different pieces? So how do you, I suppose, reconcile the value of exploration, diverse interests, and sort of shorter term like mini goals or mini projects? How do you reconcile that with the value of consistency, and ensuring that something is being built over time?
Yes, super interesting. Yes, thanks for asking. For me, I can answer as having a flow between the movement, as I said, the movement and awareness, and silence. I mean, silence or reassessing, pause. It's important to not let the brain be in the loops with a lot of ideas, and it's super inspiring to have a lot of ideas. But sure, I feel a lot of those times when I have multiple ideas, and I need to settle, and I need usually to open and create a mind map. What I map out the ideas could be Miro board and a platform that I use, or even pen on paper, and then I can see the route, and get rid of other ideas that I had in my mind in the past, or in that time. And then the focus, it's important on that, it stands out in me in the mind map. But it depends on, it's not, sometimes it could be quick, other times it takes more time, much more time, the process. So it's something that I need to have patience and silence, focus, and then I continue moving.
Right. So it's not a hack. It's a process for, okay, I need to look at this. I need to remain aware of this and exploring this until I find something that's is true to me, or something that connects all of these ideas, something that I feel I can focus on.
Yeah, that I make the puzzle and say, okay, this makes sense. Then I can continue. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how do you ensure that, once somebody has found something that, okay, great, this can be my next thing, how do you get there from there to forming a sort of an experiment, building an experiment, and setting some direction for your exploration, and also ensuring that process of exploration is something that you do learn from or gain value from, or that you can build into a longer journey?
Mm-hmm. For example, if I focus on creating a product, or an outcome, a product, let's say, to me it's important, that part, the reflection, the mind map, to move forward. Okay, now I have the connection, this makes sense, let's put my hands on. But a key that I found important, it's the interaction with world testing, very quick, early, with people around, or with the environment, and see how that reacts, the project, with people or with the environment, whatever. And then as I test early, I can iterate early, and then I take it from the next loop and the next loop, and it could reach to an outcome that it's different, or slightly, or even not so slightly different than I imagined before, because I interacted with the world, with people in an early stage.
Yeah, I understand. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important. What I'm hearing from you is that it's important what you do with that reflecting phase and with that acting phase, right? That the purpose of the reflection I'm hearing is to pay attention long enough, basically, and reflect enough until you find something that feels true, find something that that you can focus on, find something that's meaningful. And then the acting phase is it's really, you get out there, put yourself in the world, get feedback
Yes.
as quickly as
Yes.
possible. And
Mm-hmm.
I think what I see often, what seems, I suppose the opposite of that is a norm for a lot of people. The opposite of what you're describing, where people will, the reflective phase won't have that outcome of just paying attention and self curiosity. That the reflective or the not acting phase will be exploring all of these ideas that are out there and absorbing and absorbing
Mm-hmm.
and absorbing and absorbing
I
information,
see.
and
Yeah.
then and you can see how overwhelm might come from that. And then the acting phase as well is often, I think, and I've been guilty of this as well. I will find, I've spent so long working on this. Why has literally nothing happened? It's because for me, automatically, like I've sort of realization, I suppose, has been and it is
Mm-hmm.
an
I
issue
see.
in the modern world as well. It's so common, but that's been an issue for me, where the acting phase isn't just, okay, I'm going to try this thing, I'm going to go to a place and do this, or I'm going to make this and see how people like it, or whatever. It's all the planning, and it's the design, and it's getting it all perfect, and it's trying to incorporate everything, and not getting to that place where there's a tangible, whether it's an act or an experience or something I've created,
Yeah.
not a long time before I get to a place where there's just actually something I can test, something I can see what happens with that. So, I like that you define the purpose of each phase. Could you give an example of a journey you've been on with a client who is perhaps is experiencing overwhelm and is not sure of their next step, and is struggling to find their own direction? Could you kind of paint a picture of a journey you've gone on with someone where what that reflective phase has looked like, and then how something has come out of that, some way of getting next steps and next directions has been formed from that?
Yeah, absolutely. I can give an example of a client. Um, the problem was the initially burned out that she was experiencing, and she's still in the process. Not severe, but it's a mild one. And to me, it's important also to have with a care practitioner, ideally. Otherwise, I don't have the biomarkers. However, I can sense in different questions that I ask. The problem, it's uh, the uncertainty of the structure of the company that
Okay.
she's at the moment, but at the same time, she needs that work to keep the stability that she has. However, it's not. It's an environment that it's toxic. So while she finds a better work, um, I need with her we need to cooperate with each other on ways that tackle her mental stable, like in a way that doesn't feel drained, or stabilize in a way that doesn't create anxiety, like transferred in multiple things, headache, feeling weak in muscles. She doesn't have sometimes the energy to move, like running or going to the gym or being outside. So it's there are certain habits that I would need with her to sense, which are the ones that gives her to back to herself, but in a way that combines health in her body and more stillness, and feeling less overwhelmed, less burned out, helping her on. I found that with her, if she stays in nature, for example, during the weekend, spending most time in nature, she told me that she feels more balanced emotionally. So it's an experimentation between her lifestyle, ways of eating, and how to optimize certain aspects into her life in a way that she feels a bit more balanced and with more energy to tackle that challenge that she has
Right. So
until
it's
she moves to another work.
so it's an iterative process, right? It's okay. Let's try going outside a lot this weekend and see what happens. And then she kind of reports
What you
back, and
felt.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. And then it's like, okay, well,
Yes.
that seems to be valuable, or that didn't make a difference, whatever it is, and then you kind of adjust
Yes.
from there. I just think that it seems to be, there's this book. I don't know. It seems like you must have read it based on what you've talked about tiny experiments. Have you read this book or heard of it? Yeah, there we go. Cheers. Yeah, very good.
Cheers.
Yeah, it seems a growing conversation, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, it might be what I've been exposed to myself, but I think the conversation the world is having about growth and well-being, I hear that there's more talk now about, well, what actually works for you. Try something for a little while and see what happens, as opposed to these prescriptive, specific ideas of this is
Yeah.
what you need to do. This is what the best people do.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Totally. Yes.
it's very encouraging because to me it speaks to, and I suppose this is my next question to you. It speaks to a difference in what the goal actually is of this whole process, what one's trying to achieve. I think I think people enter the growth space sometimes from a place of insecurity or anxiety, and then the goal might be something like, oh, I want to become like a certain kind of person, or I want to achieve what this person over there has achieved,
Yeah.
or that person here.
Yeah.
But the approach that that you speak of with self-listening and experiment, and that does seem to be a growing conversation. It seems like it's a different goal. What to you is the goal? What's the outcome in mind? What are you trying to achieve for yourself and for your clients through this different approach?
Sure. For my clients and for me, both ways, it's to achieve long-term sustainability. I got a sense for the practitioners, the conventional practitioners, the focus tend to be short-term solution, and instead of thinking long-term vision, long-term solution, the growth loops can help to achieve that, and also the bio-individuality, considering each person is different physically, mentally, so it's important to tailor the approach towards that in a way that it works more in a systemic way, and not like focusing into one organ, whatever it is, and how the organs intertwine with each other, and how what are the uh, like the bio-individual features of the person, because also it's important, instead of focusing only the short-term solution. It's like having a pill that you could take and perhaps don't feel during certain amount of time, but then the pain, it will continue after a while.
Yeah.
So we want to prevent that. And in a systemic way, how the organs intertwine with each other, and considering the individuality, it's a path for that for long term.
Right. So it's kind of it's making your focus when you're trying to solve issues, whatever, for yourself or others. It's make it, the focus is deeper, right? Like what's true to you, not just surface level. It's broader, considering more aspects, and it's longer. It's over time. It's not just this one thing right here, right now. That it's not that first impulsive thought of, oh, I don't like this, so I need to make it go away. It's what's going on. What do I need, and how can I make something that works?
Yeah, the metaphor we could see has an iceberg. Yeah, for example. Yeah,
right. Yeah. There's more underneath the surface.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're just about at the end of our course. A couple of questions that I don't want to miss asking you. The first is, what's coming up next for you? What are you learning at the moment, or creating at the moment that you're excited about with this work?
Oh, I'm excited about right now. I'm just kicking off a project, co-creating with a friend of mine. She's within integrative nutrition, and I will focus into the creative mindset leadership, and how to combine body and mind. Considering multiple factors, hormones, a lot of things that we will discuss. We are still into brainstorming, so I cannot say much more about it, but it's a project I'm really keen and enthusiastic to work with her and see what we will come through. Yeah, next year it will be launched.
That's so true to you that you're actively in it, but the outcome is undecided as of yet. It's the exploratory phase, so fantastic. I love the mentioning across this call of every time I'm talking to you about goals or whatever, and you're always bringing up the relevance of the body and energy levels and things like that in this conversation, and that's something that I've learned is really, really true for myself. Like, you can do so much work at that head level, but actually, a good night's sleep and moving a little bit every day has huge impact across that. I mean, you can't ignore any part, right, of that whole system. So that's really, really worth just highlighting there, and I appreciate that distinction. One last thing is, with this goal in mind of something that lasts and something that's true to you, finding a way of thriving and achieving and leadership that's sustainable. What's really one core piece of advice or core insight that you would want to leave me and the listeners with about how they can approach that outcome for themselves?
I would say be curious, be an avid learner, to learn and unlearn. Be curious. That's my advice. Curious no matter into your health, body, mind. Yes.
Yeah, curiosity. I love it. I've been thinking it's a really, really big, valuable virtue. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, Alexandra. It's been enjoy having you.
Thank you for having me here. Yes.
Yeah, and so people can find your writing, at least on the Modern Day Explorer. Is that where people should go if they want to find out more about you?
If they want to find more about me, yes, I have all my references there on Substack. So yeah, my website is there, LinkedIn profile, Instagram. Yes.
Cool. Easy. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, and really, really cool. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Mindform Podcast. I'm Ryan A. Bush, founder and author of Designing the Mind and creator of Mindform. Mindform is an exclusive community and training platform for sculpting your psychological software. Members get access to a group of like-minded psychotechs, including all of our guests on this podcast, gamified growth tools, events and retreats, and a collection of transformative programs for mental health and self-mastery. You can learn more and apply to join at mindform.io/podcast. I hope to see you inside.